everyone. It's another Friday. It's Q&A with Alan and Marshall and Allie and Mike and Tom. And hopefully you guys can hear us. Well, so what we'd really like you to do right now is if you're logging in, we would love it if you would comment that the audio is working because we have no idea if it's actually working or not. So somebody please comment and let us know. Otherwise, we're going to assume that it works. So, no, that's the, it goes to that microphone.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Now's the time for questions on the equipment. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as Alan's got his headphones on, Alan, can you hear us?
Not a thing.
What?
Yes. No, I can hear him.
Oh,
Everything
man,
sounds
don't give
good.
me a heart attack.
Everything sounds
So
good.
anyway, if you're wondering what's going on, we're at Shirt Lab New Orleans in the library of the Q&C Hotel, which is our master headquarters for our event. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Yesterday, I spent about an hour and a half or so going to all the venues we're going to be at. And I really think this is going to be the nicest one we've done. And it's going to be lots of fun. So anyway, with me is Allie Van Holzer right here. And Allie, if nobody's seen you before, where are you from and what's the name of your shop?
Yeah, so Allie Van Holzer, Wear Your Spirit Warehouse. We are in Southern Maryland, about 45 minutes southeast of DC and southwest of Annapolis. And we do a little bit of everything: screen print, embroidery, sublimation, wide format, direct film, you name it.
You name it. And she's been on the show before, and she's one of our partners in Shirt Lab. So she's awesome. Plus, you're presenting tomorrow.
I am.
And what are you talking about?
Getting it done.
Getting it done?
Whatever it is.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Marshall, we need to also say, Allie, the last time you were on the show with Jet from Steaks Manufacturing, what a great show.
It was.
Nobody is, if you missed that one, go back and see it on YouTube or the podcast on audio. It was incredible. So,
and Judd is here.
oh, is he here? Oh, good.
Well, I don't know if he's here yet, but he's coming to Shirt Lab New Orleans. So, and next to Allie is Mike. Mike, why don't you say hi and introduce yourself and where you live?
Hello, I'm Mike Woolbright. I'm from Southern California, and my company is Express Tees. We do screen printing and embroidery, and I'm so happy to be here at Shirt Lab. Marge gave us the tour, and we've had our beignets and our gumbo, and you're going to learn more here this weekend than you would in a college class. So you all need to be here and hang out. When I first met Allie and Marge and everybody in Portland Shirt Lab, it's just a turning point. So you need to join and come every single time.
That's right. And Mike, how many events have you been to?
I've been to, I think only live just two or three. I think just two.
Okay, so this is your third one.
My second one. No, I was in Portland, and then I was the one. I don't know. I can't. But I've learned more with Shirt Lab and I want to thank Screenprinting Magazine for their sponsorship of Shirt Lab. The education programs that they're helping is better than going to anywhere else. So
Awesome.
You learn a lot from here.
I'll pay you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And next to Mike is Tom. So Tom, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us all about you because you're Mr. World Traveler guy.
Yes, Tom Rahanu at 1-800 T-shirts, and also one of the partners with Shirt Lab. And looking forward to another great weekend. We've got a great speaker lineup, a lot of cool things planned. So some of the fun stuff besides the education and networking and talking shop with everybody that's here is getting to see the city and explore a little bit. So looking forward to diving in to Bourbon Street a little bit maybe later on tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And of course, Alan's here as usual. And Alan, you just literally got here threw your suitcase and came over here.
It is actually, my suitcase is right outside the door. Hopefully it's still there. Yeah, I haven't even checked in the hotel yet, so I'm a sweaty mess.
Yeah.
From traveling all day. I'm looking forward to Shirt Lab because I don't have to do anything here. I get to listen.
Yeah,
and
you don't
learn
have to
and
work,
take notes.
unlike some of the people on the panel today.
Exactly. Because Alan, what are we doing? Don't know. Go ask Marshall. Go ask Tom. Go ask Allie. I don't know.
So,
but I'm looking forward to, I've never heard Mike McCallum speak. I'm actually, Tom, and not saying this just because you're a client of mine, I'm actually looking forward to Tom, hearing Tom on referrals and stuff.
yeah, it's not like you do sales or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so if you're watching, thank you for saying hello. Please, we'd like to know where you're watching from. And then also, if you would do us a small favor and share that you're watching, that would really be great. Also, a lot of people watch the show recorded because, they're busy doing stuff. And so if that's you, please drop us a note and let us know that you're watching or like it or whatever, so we kind of build our viewership that way as well. So appreciate you.
And Marshall, we got some people online that are watching, and it's
so Josh is still driving. You've been driving for about 3 days now, right, or something? And Charles is here. Hey, Charles, good seeing you. And Jay Dennett is up in his hotel room, and he can hear us fine. So thanks, Jay.
Good. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. It's been a few years since I was up there in New Hampshire at Blue Dolphin. So.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So I had a beer with him last night. It's good seeing him. So, oh, look, Ray's here. That's great. How's it going, Ray? So, all right. So let's kick things off, and by playing a little commercial for GSG. Sorry. We want to thank them as always for their sponsorship and for not only our Q&A show, but also for Shirt Lab.
Yep.
And those guys make a difference. So enjoy our commercial.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes: GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
So thanks to GSG for that, and I really appreciate them. And thanks for watching, guys. And by the way, Ray says he's hot, and Frank here has some FOMO. And we miss you, Frank. We wish you were here.
You should be here, Frank.
And we'll catch you later, okay? I'm sure we'll see you at ISS Fort Worth in September, more than likely. So
we have people from GSG coming. Mark Soldonic is here. You saw him last night.
On his way, actually.
He's actually on his way. All right, there he is.
Yeah.
Great. So, it's going to be a lot of it. Mark Boudreau's coming. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, so let's kick the discussion off today about the, let's not bury the lead. So let's talk about Shirt Lab New Orleans. So, Allie, what is going on with our conference? Why don't you walk everybody through just so they can get some FOMO like Frank?
All right, more FOMO, absolutely. All right, so after our last live event, we kind of polled everybody and said, hey, where do you want the next live event to be? And overwhelmingly, everybody said New Orleans. So here we are, even though it's the end of July and hotter than blazes. But that's okay, because we're going to translate that heat into hot sales, hot education.
Right.
We're going to send you home on fire, literally, physically, and for your business. We have a whole bunch of presenters. Mike Michalowicz is I guess our keynote, we can call him. So he's here. He's going to melt our minds a little bit. And many other presentations. We've got Lori Feldman. Tom is doing one. I'm doing one. Jay Bissell, Jenna.
Right.
Who am I missing?
That's it.
That's it. Oh, and Mike. All right. So
6 speakers and bringing the heat.
And we're doing something a little bit different. Every speaker is going to have an interactive, either during their presentation or as breakout groups, so that you will actually go home with things already done.
That's
to
right.
help improve your business.
That's right. This Shirt Lab is all about action and taking action and doing stuff, not just sitting there like a lump.
Yep. So real quick itinerary tonight, we will be doing our networking. Tom picked out a fabulous brewery for us.
Well,
we'll be doing our rock, paper, scissors competition.
I know a thing or two about breweries.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, Tom owns a brewery, and this brewery is only about 5 or 6 months old. I was there yesterday. I gotta tell you, I had a beer while I was there, and I had some
Research.
I had some
Research.
research. I had a Hefeweizen, and it's because that's my favorite type, and it was delicious. And so it's gonna be a great event. They reserved half the bar for us. And
Yes.
so that's going to be great. And anytime anybody reserves a half a bar for me, I think that's going to be an awesome experience already. So
Marshall, I learned something new about you all the time. I didn't know you had a type.
Yeah.
I have a type of beer, and it's Hefeweizen,
All right.
which comes from me going to Oktoberfest in Germany back in the late 90s.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So I don't know about all of you, but I think the networking on Friday night is one of the key pieces of Shirt Lab. The people you meet, contacts you make, and then you're able to follow up and call people afterwards and help you get over some of those business hurdles and things that way, and also just build some great communities. So then tomorrow we'll have the conference.
Well, hold on, we're skipping over the stall sponsorship for the networking party, right?
I'm sorry, I did.
So we always have a rock, paper, scissors championship, okay?
Yep.
With
So
a trophy, and the winner gets a Vision IQ heat press.
Fusion, I think.
Heat press, and Josh Wiley was posting in the Shirt Lab Tribe group that he won that 2 years ago, and he's made $30,000 from it.
Nice.
Wow.
That's pretty good from a rock, paper, scissors contest
Competition.
winner.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a
Absolutely.
free machine
Absolutely.
giveaway.
So thank you to Stalls for that. That's pivotal as well. Tomorrow then we will have the conference all day. Breakout groups, go home with stuff already done, already put in action. And then tomorrow night is our VIP dinner.
Yeah.
I can't say it.
Mulots.
Mulots.
Yeah, I had to get them help to pronounce it.
Yeah, Mulots. So we're gonna have some
It's
good
a Cajun
traditional.
place?
Mullets.
Yeah.
Mullets.
Well, it's
Mullets.
Yeah.
no, it's Mulots.
Yeah,
It's
Mulots.
Mulots.
So,
All right, you guys need to talk about it, and then
It's French.
you're taking it all away.
That's right. Go ahead.
My
Alan.
goodness, Mark.
I was helping Tom.
All right, so
It's French for mullet.
It's French and English. This is something
Well,
I'm partying
Yeah, the
about.
hair's not long enough.
Cajun
yet, so.
Kitchen. We're gonna have all the New Orleans food. We got gumbo and jambalaya and bread pudding and a bar. What more can we
And a
ask?
bar.
That's right.
And
Yes.
again, more networking, and we're diving into some of those topics that we talked about all day,
Yeah.
talking to other industry
Wow.
cohorts, and
Yeah.
being able to dive into those ideas and see how everybody's gonna go implement them.
Tom will be covered in
Great.
leaves.
And then we'll all fly home on Sunday and crash.
That's right. That's right. But I think on Sunday morning, Mike, you're leading a
Yep.
special discussion. What are you doing, Mike?
We're going to be talking about school stores and best practices so we can take all of our collective minds from around the United States and say what works for me, what works for Tom, what works for Allie. And basically, instead of reinventing the wheel, we're going to come with a full-blown car when we're done with the weekend.
Yeah, great.
So, because with Shirt Lab, 1 + 1 = 7 because you multiply your knowledge by that much more. And the awesome thing is we're geographically dispersed, so I come up with a great, wild, and incredible idea, and Tom can take that, and it's not going to cut into my market share, which is perfect. And that's one of the better things too, because we're not afraid to share. We're not afraid to, tell Allie what I'm doing. Allie tells me what she's doing, Tom, because then we can just morph it into something bigger and better than it is. So
Awesome.
that's what the goal is. I think. Can we use this?
So one more thing on Shirt Lab. So important. If you can't be here, I know you're going to have some FOMO. You're going to want this information. You're going to want to know what we're doing. It is all being recorded in video, but you need to join Tribe to gain access to it. So make sure you're a part of the Tribe so that
That's
you
right.
have access to that afterwards if you're not able to be here in person. And or even if you are here in person and you get saturated and you need to go back and remember exactly what Jay Bissell was saying that was such fire, you can go back and watch his presentation again.
And you can use Shirt Lab as a training program. I have new hires. I log them in a circle, and I say, I want you to just listen to these. And some are successful at it, and some aren't. They're not working there anymore. So just make it work.
So yeah, so if you're not in Tribe, because I know some of you guys watching aren't, you can join it at shirtlabtribe.com. It's $97 a month, and that fee is for everybody that works for you for your shop, right? So it's not just for you, the owner, it's for all of your staff, all your salespeople, your artists, your production manager, whatever. So it gets really cheap quick when you get a lot of your staff to start loading in and logging in and watching all the videos and the content that we've made over the years. So it's really great. And so anyway,
It's
So
cheaper
Marshall-
than a pizza party with your staff.
yeah.
Marshall, we have a couple guests in our audience that are here to attend. I know they've
Yeah.
been at other shirt labs before.
That's right. Well, Adam spoke at the Washington D.C. Ryan spoke. Adam spoke at the one in Washington D.C. So it was great.
Yeah, so,
We'll have to get him on in a minute.
yeah.
Yeah. Or turn the camera around or something.
We'll say you're making really funny faces at you guys. Listen up.
Yeah. So what did we forget, Tom? Anything?
No, I think we covered it all. I enjoyed the networking part of it, the community part of it. Tonight, like Ellie said, the networking part is always great. In between the speakers tomorrow, afterwards tomorrow night for the dinner, getting to see network not only with other shop owners, but the sponsors and vendors as well. So building those relationships, learning about some of the new things that are coming down the pipeline, seeing where things are at in the supply chain, just everything that's happening. Really just getting a pulse on where things are at in the industry. And obviously there's a lot going on right now with the economy, with interest rates and this little thing they're calling a recession or whatever, and just kind of seeing how does that.
I don't see a recession.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in Iowa either. But I hear throughout the United States, it's affecting different people differently. So that's why I like especially this event, because we get guys from Michigan and California and Florida and all over the place, and we can kind of get an idea of what's going on in those regions and all over the U.S. and is the current economic conditions touching anyone? Is it not? Are people scooting through it? Like, what does that look like? And sometimes it depends on the region. Sometimes it depends on what that customer base is, whether they're working with sports teams, schools, or corporate stuff. It may be different. So I like to see that feedback and see how that relates to what we're doing in our business.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, so let's grab a new topic and let's talk about the biggest challenge right now. So we'll start with you, Alan, way on the other end. So what do you think the biggest challenge is right now that your customers or maybe you are facing?
Well, Marshall, you and I have talked about this before. I still think the biggest challenge is in our own mind. Yeah, you know what? We hear a lot of the recession. Is it going on? Probably. Are sales still out there? 100% out there. You got to go get them. And I think there is so much negative anywhere on the news, on the radio, and what we hear, that we actually, end up stopping ourselves, and we get more scared, and we kind of start, hunkering down a little bit. I think we've all done it in our personal lives, and that's what they talk about as consumer confidence. But you got to have confidence in your business. You got to keep working, and keep pushing. I know there's a topic coming up on sales, and you got to keep going out there trying to get new clients. What are you showing them new? What are you showing them to help their business? And that's whether you're on the supplier side like I am, or stalls, or what Tom or Michael or Sam on Sports does. You've got to keep going out there and keep pushing and keep showing your customers and keeping those new customers coming in.
What do you think, Tom?
Our biggest challenge right now is staff, hiring and keeping staff, and where those wage levels kind of come into the budget as well. And some of it's just general production. Stacking T-shirts, helping out with screens, like helping fold whatever, bag orders. Like, it's very simple work, but we've had a lot of college and high school kids this summer that came on and worked, and we're paying them $15 an hour, but they actually had to work when there's other places they could go and sit on their cell phone the whole time and be making $16 or $17 an hour, which is really tough. Be paying somebody to be stacking t-shirts, because it's a very basic job that really takes no skill or training. And so it's finding that balance of how do we get people in some of these kind of basic, not so glamorous jobs in the shop, whether it's washing screens or stacking shirts.
Right.
And then how do we figure out the payroll to, be able to, keep them happy and also make it work economically for the business. So that's just a challenge right now with, such a tight labor market and, where unemployment is, that, people can go somewhere else and get paid more and work less or just stand around on their phone. That makes it's a difficult proposition for us to do.
Yeah, I think good thing we have Mike McAllowitz to tell us all about that tomorrow.
Yep.
That's the whole topic, is that whole thing, Tom.
Boom, that's perfect. Can't wait. I'll be taking notes.
Hopefully he says something brilliant.
He will.
Good segue.
Yeah, what about you, Mike? What do you think your biggest challenge is?
My biggest challenge is myself. It's getting motivated and coming back and making changes that I need to make. Tied with staffing, everybody slowed down. We slowed down and we cut back, and now we're bringing it back on. And payroll is a really big problem. I mean, I hired somebody in, and he was making 18. I offered him 19 just to get it in, and he took it. And then he said, "Oh, they gave me 21." I said, "I'll give you 25." Well, then he comes back, works for me for about 2 weeks, and says, "Hey, I got a job for $29 an hour and full benefits." Well, I mean, I've taken a job that would be a $10 an hour bump. And I said, take that job because we don't have that. So it's being able to compete, but it's all the extra things as a smaller size company that we can offer. It's flexible schedules. It's getting anybody in to come in to help that you can. And I mean, I even hired my son for the summer because I figured I'm giving him money anyway. Why not make him work for it? And so he started negotiating his paycheck. And I said, no, I'm not going to give you $25 an hour. You're folding T-shirts and, doing basic stuff. But, the big thing is we have to set our things, and we have to look at, Allie will love me for this, look at our costs. And what does it actually cost us to do what we have to do? And that's one of the things
You're looking at data?
Exactly.
Oh, be still.
We have to have data and keep track of it.
This is the data into the couch over here.
Yeah, exactly. Because, when you have an embroidery person and she's making $25 an hour and she's sitting around waiting, you need to be able
There's
to
a
find
cost to that.
There's a huge cost. But that's why you have to join Shirt Lab. You learn from all that.
Right.
I love the data part because, everybody's looking at how to automate and when to do that, when to pull the trigger. And Marshall, I've stolen, your line of, you're already paying for it. Yeah. When they have the data and they know where their bottlenecks are, the data is right there.
Yeah,
you're already paying
people are
for it.
usually just too lazy to get the data, right? They just walk around the problem every day, not realizing what it is because they're not writing a check. They don't think it costs them anything. That's the problem.
Yeah, data to me is what I call, when I've done sales seminars, is what I call pain points and stuff. How big, you just don't realize you're bleeding. You think it's a paper cut. Well, the data's going to show you, no, you've suffered an artery.
Actually, what is your phrase you say all the time, Alan? Don't let the facts confuse you with the
Well, I say this, clients that I think are idiots on there, it's like, none of them that are here I've said that about, but
your best customer.
I'm afraid to say it because there's a few of them right here around me. Nothing, Marshall, I don't say it. I actually say, this is a point of, don't confuse me with the facts. My mind is made up.
That's right. Yeah.
And the other thing too, and through, I think it was one class, you track your stuff. For embroidery, I'm spending so much money in there. I gave her a job tracking sheet that said, how many did you get done? How many stitches was it? Because we all know, you should be able to do X number of shirts an hour or X number of loads and stitches. But when they actually have to track it, and then it took me 4 hours to do, 12 jackets. Okay, well, that's way too expensive. And you let them make that decision. You say, how can we be more efficient on that stuff?
Or do I need to raise my prices?
Or raise my prices, right. Or people support what they help create. So if you can involve your staff and your people in it, they have they do it all day long.
The great thing to ask there is like, help me understand why it took you 4 hours to do 12 jackets.
Yep.
And
well, that's because I was on my phone playing Facebook with my friend.
Yeah.
Looking at cat memes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another cat cucumber meme, You seen those?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
we don't have time. We're busy entrepreneurs.
We're business owners.
The cat thinks the cucumber's a snake and doesn't realize it's not, and just goes crazy.
Oh. And everybody says the thing is they think cats are afraid of cucumbers. They're not. They're just startled by something that they didn't know was there.
Yeah.
So,
So
not
anyway,
that I've seen it.
all right. So hey, Karen is on her way to the airport soon. Thanks, Karen. See you in a minute.
Yep.
It's hot.
It's more humid than hot, but it's
Yeah, you're right. It's just more humid.
Right. Cool. Well, hey, so let's share the Pulse magazine real quick. So if you go to gogsg.com, they have a Pulse magazine every single week. It's there. It's just on the banner, and you can check it out. And it's got all types of great information and deals and sales and all types of things. And they want us to let you know that that's there. So just go to gogsg.com, and in the top banner, you'll see it, or you can just click and roll over to it, and all types of stuff for you guys. And we're between embroidery and heat press and screen printing and whatever, everything is there, and they would love for you to check it out. So just gogsg.com and look at the Pulse magazine.
And you gotta check out GSG's YouTube. Spam Mark Slodonik just had one with their new the Gauntlet 4 on there. Man, so
Yeah,
cool.
I was talking with him last night, and he's done over 560 videos for GSG now.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's just on screen
I
print.
think
They
he's
do
like
them-
7 million views he's gotten, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Almost as many as Q&A, right?
Almost.
Yeah, almost. Right. All right. So our next topic is from Jeffrey Gittimer, who spoke here at Shirt Lab in Fort Worth, which is people want to buy but not to be sold. Right. What the idea here is, you can't be the cheesy car salesman guy. You got to really look at helping them and solve their problems. So I thought it'd be an interesting topic here with some sales masters here to talk about how you guys are helping your customers realize that you're the best place you're in good hands, right? The best place for them is doing business with you guys. So how do you guys do that?
Well, for me, it's very much about building relationships, but also educating customers. They will come in and say, hey, I want 6 screen printed shirts with 5 colors on the front and 5 colors on the back. And I'm like, well, what's your budget? And they're like, yeah, that's not really, but we have so many different processes that we can solve their problems, solve their pain points within their budget. But you've got to build that relationship, get them to trust you. Now most of my customers come with the approach of, we want to do something for this event. This is our budget. What gives me the most bang for our buck? And we can maximize it for both of us. I can be profitable without having to try to undercut the invoice that they brought me or the quote they brought me from the guy up the road.
Right.
And they get a fantastic product within their budget that they.
Plus, a lot of people don't know what you can do, and until you tell them what you can do, like we did shirts for a street festival. Well, we can also do banners, and we can also do the shot glasses and the cups. And so we just did the T-shirts for a long time, and they had a problem with their banners. Well, I took their banner order, I subbed it out, and I think we made more money subbing their banners than we did printing their T-shirts. And they were happy, and now we're one stop. With us, I don't want to say it too loudly, but we're in the school market, and we're trying to take that pain
sell to schools?
away. Exactly.
That's such a novel idea.
I know, because
No,
they have to have one in every neighborhood. Look how much you can make selling schools.
Yeah.
But and we all had to deal with PTA moms and school secretaries.
PTA moms are a pain?
I'm not saying that. I would never say
Like
that.
loves the PTA moms.
No,
That's
Love
what
them.
PTA stands for, right?
Yeah. but when you look at it, we're taking the pain away, and we're basically, our big thing now, that if you were here at Shirt Lab Live, you could find out on Sunday morning on tips and tricks to make it work better. And
Shameless pitch. So awesome.
and just to do stuff, because we just want to make it easy, and no one likes to be sold.
Yeah, right. What about you, Tom? What's your key to kind of dialing that in on selling your value, not the price?
So at 1-800-tshirts.com, we
Shameless pitch. Awesome. Who has a blue water auto reclaim? Wait, there we go. I'm going to get into it now. So.
I mean, the big thing here is, you can't just be sitting at your desk waiting for the phone to ring or waiting for that email to come in with the order.
Can we call 1-800 T-shirts to get to your
Yes,
office?
but
Oh,
it's
okay.
got to be proactive, right? So we look and say, all right, how do we go from reactive? When we're super busy, it's easy to get in that reactive mode because we're just trying to fulfill orders and everything else. But we got to proactively look and say, all right, how can we help our customers out? How can we, maybe it's getting mock-ups or samples, or knowing that, what is the next season coming down the pipeline and what are those products that we want to get in front of them, whether it's new items or maybe something that they haven't done before. And so just getting in that habit of proactively looking at your customers, saying, all right, how can we help them? What else can we do for them instead of waiting for them to come to us with something that they need? It's putting some stuff in front of them that's going to offer value and maybe something they can use.
And on that same point is taking you or taking your people out of the equation, because when we are super busy and we don't get our email blast out or we don't get our marketing stuff out, all of a sudden it doesn't matter for the next week or 2 or 3, but it's 2 or 3 months down the line when you're not busy anymore. And that's one of the things that Allie talks about is you got to do it, structured. It's 149 days until Christmas Eve. And how many people are doing their Christmas brochures right now and doing like Land's End? They send their catalogs out already. They actually did a telemarketing call to me because, of course, I registered for their free catalog so I can see what they're doing and how I'm competing against it. And they did an outbound telemarketing call, and then I said, yeah, I do need to get the catalog.
And they want to know if you wanted some digitizing?
Yeah, no, the digitizers, and Pete, which is every person's name who calls up to ask for digitizing, but do it now, because if we don't keep that up there, and we all complain about the digitizers that call, but it's repetition. It's like, how many times do you see a beer commercial or a soft drink or something like that? And we just have to start thinking about that ourselves. Now, do as I say, not as I do, because I don't do everything that I say I need to do, but I have friends that do. Like Allie will suggest something and she'll turn it into $1 million project. But we just have to focus, which is why I'm my worst challenge for stuff. I can't get fired, and I probably should be. I fired myself a couple of times.
Well, it comes down to, it's always, there's a great book out, and I call it Who, Not How.
Yep,
right?
I have that book on my desk.
And so it's all about who can you get to do the thing for you so you don't have to.
Yep.
Right? So remove yourself from the equation. And this, our last thing today is really about training your replacement, but I want to just keep it on sales right now. But it's really just about getting the thing done and having a checklist, having a calendar. A great thing to do for you guys is to have a whiteboard that's across from your desk that you have to look at all the time, and then everything's on there. When you accomplish it, you erase it, right? How many things are you erasing? It's all about getting the thing completed, not starting it, but getting it completed. What do you need to complete the thing? That's your problem, Mike, is you might start stuff, but you got to get it completed.
I'm good at that.
So think about who can help you get the thing to completion, right? And what's the value of that when it's completed? And probably the cost for getting it completed is way less than the value, right?
Yep.
So just work on that progress.
And one of the things when you're here this weekend or when you're watching and you hook up is you need to get 1 or 2 people that are in Shirt Lab and make them your buddy and let them hold you accountable. Because if I don't do something,
like a swim buddy.
like a swim buddy or something like that. Because if I don't get something done and I've told Allison I'm going to do something, I'm afraid to not get it done. And
He knows I'm going to talk to him on Tuesday.
exactly. But the key is as entrepreneurs, we're the top of the food chain, but we're not. We need to be held accountable, because how many times have you come in and somebody didn't do something? Well, you can yell at them, but who yells at me? Who yells at you?
Allie.
Your wife?
Allie yells.
Yeah, or Allie. Allie yells at me.
Marshall yells at me.
Marshall yells at Tom.
Well, let's bring it back to the sales point too. When you're talking to a customer, or you have someone call, say on 1-800 T-shirts, or somebody calls me and says, Alan, I want to meet with you. I want to do whatever. Allie already alluded to it. One, the biggest obstacle always in sales that everybody's afraid to talk about is budget. But I think there's a bigger one, because time is valuable, and it's for lack of a better term, it's a cliche sales one, but an upfront contract. What are you wanting to accomplish? And that way, you know if it's a fit. So the customer knows going into it, you know, when that call is set or that time is set, there's an upfront contract. Here's what I'm looking to contract. Here's what I'm looking to show you. Here's what I want to see if there's a fit. And you should know within 15 minutes if this is a fit or not. I had that with a client. I have known this purchasing agent, I'm not going to say the company, he's on the graphic side for probably 8 years. He's never bought anything from me, and I don't call him a lot. We have a new product coming out for that side of the industry. I called him, he says, Alan, let's take a look and do that. But I know not to waste his time. And I'm in there, as we get talking, I actually said, you know what, I could replace that product, but I don't think this product is a replacement for it. 15 minutes, and there it is. That time is done. And it didn't waste my time or his time. I still have an open door there. And I think sometimes before we go right to the budget is we have to have what, in my mind, I call those upfront contracts of what are we trying to accomplish with our clients. And then you ask them when you say, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. Well, what's your budget? You may want, as Ali said, you may want 12 colors on 200 shirts. Well, my budget is only $500. Good, you get one color.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
I think everybody needs to learn how to say no
Yep.
more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And who is your ideal customer? Where are you going? Are you in alignment? Is it a good fit? And if it's not a good fit, it's okay to say, you know what, that's really not for me. Even, you know, send that loser customer, if they're, you know, whatever, to your worst competitor and let them not make
Absolutely.
money on that job, right?
But that's
And
where
we're afraid to
people
say
don't
no.
want- Yeah.
You know, we're always afraid to say no, especially if it's slow. You don't want to say no, but once you say yes and it's cheap, you can't raise that up.
But let's also piggyback on that, because how many times do you say yes to the job that you know is a bad fit, and then you don't want to do it, and then because of that, it is slow through production, or it's things, and now you're going to get a bad review.
And the job you lost money on pushed away your prime customer who just got upset.
Right. And it still comes down to the customer doesn't want to be sold. You know, he wants to buy, doesn't want to be sold. So when you have that upfront contract, get the budget out of the way, then it's easy.
You
He's
know,
going to sell himself.
and you want to sell the sizzle. You want to sell the extra things. Like we have a dance studio came to us in a nightmare like 5 or 6 years ago, and I took the call luckily.
And they
and-
wanted some dance lessons from you.
They wanted me to give dance lessons. Yeah, really good about Tam because I can dance around them with
Mike got
any
the glitter
topic.
on, and he was ready.
Exactly.
To go. So,
But they are now one of our best customers. And even during COVID, they spent $50,000, $60,000 with us. But we did whatever we had to do to make her happy. And are we a little bit more expensive on her stuff? Yeah, because I know I'm going to have overnight shipping. I'm going to have something else that comes in. But we created a value for her. And then one of her, you know, cricket moms wants to do T-shirts, and
of course.
of course they all want to do that. They all want to compete with you, and they say, well, we can get that. And I say, yes, you can, but you know, did you get them done? And I now have a calendar, and I follow her calendar, and so I start calling her 2 or 3 weeks before all of her stuff, and it's increased her sales. It's made our problems easier. And they had a mom that did an Etsy store or something online, and they bought 20, 30, you know, a lot of money with it. Well, we're putting him into a Chipley store, which is another sponsor of Shirt.
That's right. Thank you,
And
Mike.
Chipley, yeah,
Appreciate you
Mike
mentioning
got
their
their payroll.
sponsors.
What is
exactly.
the deal?
I'm gonna get paid, you know, for that. But you know, you can read about Chipley in Screenprinting magazine. But Chipley is the new gold standard because I'm doing a Chipley store for them, and they're going to have their percentage markup with what they want. And whenever they order, it's going to go straight into what I have to order from S&S or Alpha or whoever, and it makes it easier. But I'm making it the pain point away from that studio mom or the owner of the studio. But you know, and that just started off from saying no to the low price, but yes to the high. And using, I would have never known about Chipley if I didn't join Shirt Life. You didn't talk about it and give us
Mike,
some money
speaking
off.
of Chipley,
What a segue.
if you do a demo with Chipley, just talk to Lynn and tell her you heard it on Shirt Lab and use the code SHIRTLAB to get $500 off your onboarding fee. It's amazing. We use that
Wow.
on air t-shirts
Oh.
and
How many stores do you have with Chipley now?
hundreds. And the cool thing about Chipley is live inventory tracking.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry about having
No.
things on your store that are out of
No.
stock.
The best thing about Chipley is Chipley itself. The support staff, Lynn and Mike and the people that work
Yes.
there are absolutely amazing. They will walk you through how to do it as many times as you need, but they will also help you and they will do it and they'll tell you the behind the scenes for it. And it makes it so simple. And they'll even
And I think
control
a great thing about them is the fact that they're actually a t-shirt shop owner.
Yes.
They understand, you empathize with your pain because they just went through that yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, how their product is so much better than the other types of online store
I think
programs.
Chipley is good because it would be as if Tom or I designed our own custom programming and spent thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars for the programmers. But it's the person on the phone that can talk me through how to do it. And the person that when we were really frustrated, just went in, really quick and it was fixed. And, and all of a sudden, every Thursday, money shows up in your checking account. It's really kind of cool,
Right.
Money is cool.
Yeah, money is.
I
cool.
like money.
Old hard
So
cash.
if you sign up with Chipley, it pays for your Shirt Lab membership, at least half of it for the year.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So,
Marshall, let's cycle in a couple more guests and get some opinions on this next subject.
okay, great. So, hey, by the way, Chris is here. Good morning.
Hey, Chris from Canada,
From Saskatchewan, and Sean's here. Good
All
morning,
right.
everyone.
Alvarado.
Aren't you supposed to be here, Sean?
He should have.
He's not able to come.
Tom's
this
leaving
month.
us.
Oh,
He was on your.
Mike's gonna leave us
call,
too.
It's like
am I leaving you?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna bring in.
No, that's fine. Bye, everybody. I'll see you later.
Enjoy.
No, that's fine. Good.
You're awesome, bud.
Uh-oh.
What did you pull down?
Mine.
Oh, hey, we're having technical difficulties.
The
on
whole
that end.
thing's gone.
Let's
We're
Marshall, Michael.
replacing our guests.
All right, guys, come on in.
So we got Ryan and Adam from Sandlot Sports making their way into our high-tech studio here in New Orleans.
All right. Oh, live and in person.
All right. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and talk about your shop?
Shoot, man. Me. Ryan Dost, one of the co-owners. Adam and I, 50-50 co-owners. Started back in 2008 from scratch. Adam convinced me he knew a lot more about screen printing than he actually did, and started from zero. $15,000 loan from my parents, and 2008 when you're not supposed to start a business and quit your real job. We both quit our real jobs, and here we are 15 years later. We just hit 15 years at the end of June.
June 28th was our 15th.
Wow.
Next
anniversary.
Thursday, we have a 15-year anniversary celebration, and we have a new retail store open up in Saginaw, Michigan. So we're having like a ribbon cutting, and all of our staff are just having a
Yeah, multiple locations.
And what's the day of that? August 3rd.
Yeah, August 3rd. We have 4 locations. We have 3 retail and then 1 production building. So your turn.
It's a controlled chaos.
Right, and you guys are, you sell sporting equipment and apparel and other things,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
talk about how that value add helps you with your customers.
Well, the value add's great because like Mike I just said about being that one-stop shop, that's like perfect. I mean, we've leaned more towards the apparel and uniforms and team stuff that way, and the add-on extras of like, hey, my whole softball team needs a whole set of uniforms, or I'm sorry, helmets, and they need a new hot bat. Like we can still provide all that stuff.
Right.
Likely they can go online and find it for whatever else, but we try to tell everybody like stay local as long as you can, and if you can't, you can go off and find it online. But realistically, Sandlot can provide all of that stuff for them, so they don't have.
And don't you have like bat tryout days where they can go to the park and
We haven't had
bring
those.
all the bats and
Yeah.
they can whack around with them? And
No, we haven't had that in a couple of years, but we brought some of our sales reps in from Houston and Rawlins, and they would come in and do a bat demo. We'd rent out a facility in Bay City or Saginaw and let them do a bat demo. And it was just something we threw out there, and it was actually really
I
successful.
think we sold like 68 bats in
Well, why did
3
you
hours
quit?
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, you start, the snowball goes down with you're doing more and more apparel, and you forget about
Right,
you
right.
look at the margins of bats versus the margins of apparel, and you say,
Right,
let's start leaning towards our apparel again.
right, right.
Well, and you guys have changed your model. I shouldn't even want to say change your model. You have adjusted your model from when I first met you. It was almost all teams, all schools and stuff.
Yep.
And you guys have, whether because you wanted to, had to, or just out of growth, you have changed your model over and over. And I know you know, you did very much a lot more sports equipment. Say when you did Shirt Lab in, or was it St. Louis or
Washington,
DC.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've kind of changed that model even there. So you guys have been good on. I refuse to say the word, but of adjusting.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you were going to say pivot?
Pivot.
I was not saying the word pivot.
Yeah, I mean, you follow. We like sports, so that's where the sports equipment and all that stuff came into. But then you look at, you find that one good customer that's a corporate customer, and you realize that their logo never changes. It's the
Right.
exact same. The apparel changes, but the machines all do the same thing. So let's just lean into our corporate customers, and we've gone that way, and it's been successful.
The equipment doesn't care what you put on.
Not at all.
It's been on purpose though. We were, it's been a goal the last 3 years. We were at 32% corporate, and we're trying to get it to 50% by the end of next year.
Pretty close right now.
I think we're at about 42%. So
Yeah,
the
good.
mission's
Pretty
happening.
And you guys do a lot of data analytics and tracking and all that stuff.
Yep.
How important is that to hitting your goals?
Well, it drives everything. So we started EOS maybe 3 years ago now, 4 years ago.
2019.
Who's the integrator?
I am.
And so Adam's the visionary?
He's not. He actually, we don't have a visionary. Nobody fit the visionary role on it.
No. Okay. So a bunch of integrators arguing? Is that?
No,
No, I'm
it's good. I done sales.
Adam's actually the top of our sales department.
So with that, and all the data dripping it through the departments, they all have little goals and sets for the whole department. So everyone has an idea of what they're looking for. So data is 100% driving our whole shop. The leadership has their own, production has theirs, and then the sales have their own. And then this year we hope to get our other departments like the embroidery to have their own set of goals, and the Screenprint have their own set of goals. But we've been tracking that for years now.
It's been a game changer for us to have like 3 year and 5 year like metrics we want to get to and things we have to accomplish, and just to see those numbers are huge. But another thing we just started 2 weeks ago is win the week. So it's not number oriented. It's fun. It's kind of
I
fun.
love that.
right?
So
Yeah.
in the week, talk about that.
Well,
I
so
love
that
that
works.
phrase.
So we have, I think, 11 different departments we broke the company down into, and we made things that weren't anything to do with numbers, because all of our scorecards and everything are number. And I think our purchasing gentleman, he's got to find 5 pieces a week that are in inventory, like extra things that have come in, shipped, something wrong.
And we have sitting up in storage doing nothing, just wasting
So-
money. So his goal is to try to find 5 pieces a week to take off the shelf.
Our staging person has to find 2 errors a day, either like product specs were put on a piece wrong, or we received something wrong. Finishing's just got to get all the orders that are due tomorrow at the door.
My favorite is the heat press person has to not use the gun. So we don't want to get a spray gun for the
A
It's
production
as simple
manager's
as that.
worst
They're just-
sound.
Because that is the one that's the most
Yeah.
irritating.
Yeah.
All of our offices, so you hear, and then you get up
Yeah.
and what happened? Oh, they put a 3 on backwards. You're like, no. So
And
that's
it's
our favorite one.
as simple as a little star, and they each have a board, and they put it on every day. If they get 4 out of the 5 days of the week, we say they won the week, and we were going to take some fun and put it into a thing. And last year at our Christmas party, we made, if anybody's played the game, like the big saran wrap balls, where we put like lottery tickets, maybe some booze and little things like that. And we had our staff, we had 2 balls go around, and they had oven mitts when you're trying to do it. It was time and things like that. I think you had to roll dice. Well, this year we told them we'll up the game. Whatever the funds go in there, we'll up the prizes, and maybe this year we'll have playing cards.
Drugs.
Yeah, and so if they win the right card at the end, there may be a TV on the table over there that relates to, or there may be some iPods or
Right.
something like that. So we're gonna build a little bit of fun, and it's just kind of something new, but it's not related to numbers. Numbers are very important to us, but we wanted something else that wasn't always just numbers. Sometimes I think staff can get turned off.
So it's about creating the fun.
It is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's all in the production room. It's in where all of our the outgoing orders are sitting. So it's all on the wall, and they have all the days and all the departments. And they just have these little childish 3rd grader stars that we stick on them. And if they won Monday, they put a star on Monday. If they don't, it just stays blank. So you walk past and you can easily see who's kicking.
And they record it. We're not recording it. Nobody's babysitting to do it, and it's just kind of on them to kind of.
Good, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's great.
Man, if I was still selling supplies, guys, I'd be in there showing your vinyl people that they don't have to use the stock cleaning gun. Techmar and Albatross both have a thing called vinyl leather remover.
use all that shit.
But that way it's quiet. You just spray it on.
I
It's
know.
fine. You would never.
We like the guns, so we know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. so we got a really great question. So Hassan, but by the way, where are you from? We'd love to know where you're watching from. So he asks, could you give us some advice on how to get the colors in a 4-color process print to be close as possible to the colors you see on your screen? Also for simulated color process. Well, guess what? That's like a half-hour discussion. So what I'm going to
And we may
say,
have to cycle in Mr. Mark Soldonic in too for that one too.
yeah. So what I'm
And
gonna,
which he's sitting right there in the peanut gallery. Right
so what I'm going to say on that, first off, you want to make sure that you understand that what's on your screen is an illuminated image. The colors will never look the same on a flat printed thing, no matter what. So good luck with that. Where you need to be looking is your info palette in Photoshop. That'll really help you. Use a 3x3 average so you can see exactly what that point on your file is. And for simulated, for 4-color process stuff, a really great trick to use to see gray. Any gray in there typically is the same color range. It'll be like 20 to maybe 35%. Cyan, yellow, and magenta will have the same numbers. And so if your gray looks a little too warm, that's too much pressure on the magenta. If your gray looks a little too green, it's too much pressure on the yellow. If the gray looks a little too cool, that's too much pressure on the cyan. There usually isn't very much black in your gray, and that's an easy way that you can kind of adjust the colors just with some pressure, not necessarily with changing your halftone spreads or docking or anything. So that's something that I've done a bunch on press, and that you can have remarkable gains with that. So,
I think too. So he did mention he's from Egypt. So Hassan, that brought up 2 questions now. Are you using plastisol or water-based too? Because now that's going to make a difference.
it will make a difference.
Aside from one, your consistent mesh tension, your consistent stencil EOM and thickness, and your squeegee pressure. But with plastisol inks too, and I'm not sure, Mark, you're out there telling me in water-based, especially on 4-color process, when you're using those, not all plastisol simulated or in 4-color processings are the same strength. So you have to actually either base them down or bring them up to what you want them to be. So that's going to adjust your color. Is that the same on water-based too, Mark?
You're correct. That's why you have like process extender base.
Yep.
Because your cyan and your magenta are going to be really, really strong.
Yep.
So even from a general
Hey,
rule of
nobody in
thumb,
the audience can hear what he's saying.
Yeah. So what he was saying is that's why he was agreeing with me. I was right. I wasn't sure on that. That's why even on water-based, they have like extender bases because like your process cyans and magentas are going to be stronger and you can bring them down. So you have to check with your ink supplier of who you are, of where those values are at, and keep those consistent.
Right. Well, cool. So, everything with 4-color process, a simulator process, is really about your screens. Really get your screen craftsmanship dialed in. And because if you're not able to match your image, is because you've got too much docking, is because you're trying to print with a 16 Newton screen. I mean, there's like endless amount of problems that could be. And so I would start with your screen craftsmanship as a great way to kind of dial in what you're trying to do and work out from there.
And then especially too, if it's pure 4-color. Very rarely in the States do I see pure 4-color process. They'll say, what's pure 4-color process? Is there a white underneath it? Yes. Well, that's 5. You lose. Yeah. Mark Sladonic just about spit when I said it. But when you see it, and I'm saying because in Egypt there, I don't know, again, I don't know if he's using a garment, if it's a cut, a cut and sew, and your garment's going to play a big part of that. Is it a dark garment? Is it a white garment? So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're just winding up here. So thanks, Hassan. Appreciate you watching.
Great question.
Greg Kitson's watching. Hey, Greg. Miss you. Miss you. And Lakeisha just joined us. How you doing? And this Mike Woolbreg guy just chimed in. So he couldn't get enough.
We kicked him out of that, so he went up to his room and still watching.
So Greg was one of the first people that let us creep into his shop. He gave us a full day into his shop.
Yeah.
Let us walk around.
Was that before the classes?
I think it was went to one class first, and then
Yep.
and then we went to his place, and then he actually helped us lay out our production building. But probably 8-9 years ago now. Yep.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm really enjoying the pictures of him as a granddad.
Right, yeah, no
Wearing
doubt.
the swim, so we're in the swim trunks with the goofy hat,
Yeah.
hanging out with the kids. So good job, Greg. Keep
Thanks,
that
Greg.
up.
But we do miss you, Greg, so.
Hey, can you also chime in on the rumor that you're going to be in Atlanta for Printing United? We'd love to see you.
Yeah, that would be
So-
incredible.
All right, so we're almost out of time here. What else we got to talk about today? Anything?
What's our last topic? Anything real quick?
Did we have it? Did we go through them all? Oh yeah, it was training your replacement.
You guys got a script?
We don't
Kind
know
of.
what we're doing, Adam.
That, besides this, the show was titled the sponsor cliche fest. So, you know,
So training your replacement was all about getting out of your own way. Like you can't go on to the next thing until somebody's able to do what you're doing. And I think a lot of people have an iron-fisted, white-knuckle grip on, I'm the only one that can do this. And then what happens is, well, there's other people that can do it. Let's get somebody trained, and that way you can move to a higher level thing. Oh, Greg registered for Printing United. Great. Awesome. Thanks, pal. Can't wait to see you.
yeah, that'd be great.
So it's got you gotta get out of your own way. You gotta find people that can do stuff, whether they work for you or it's an outside team or it's a virtual assistant or whatever it is. There's people right now that can be doing the things that you don't have time for, you don't know how to do, you suck at doing, whatever the excuse is, just get it done. How have you guys done anything like that?
It's not easy, but I've done it.
You've been through a few of them.
I mean, I am our legit integrator. I get to work on the business and not in the business probably 85% of the time. It's hard to let people kind of take over because you always think you can do it better than they can.
Well, of course you can do it better than they can because you know how to do it. But you got to let them go,
Yeah.
and they're going to be slow.
Yep.
But with repetition comes speed. You just got to let them do it and help them out and keep them moving. And like a certain amount of time, they're going to be exactly at your level because if you remember a year or two or whatever ago, you didn't know how to do it either.
I had no idea. When we started, I had never pulled a squeegee. I'd never embroidered anything. I went to class, learned the embroidery machine, and away we went. But yeah, you have to just let them go. And if they're not the right person, you got to maybe find a different seat on the bus for them. Or
Yeah, that's true.
Just get a new person in
And you've not had to do that with them guys.
just a few
Just a
times.
few times.
Yeah, but it's been an interesting 15-year journey, and yeah, but you have to do that to grow. You have to let go of the reins a little bit. You just can't grow. I mean, we grew from our first full year in business. What did we do? 180,000. Just the two of us. I think the most we did by ourselves was 380,000, and that was a lot of strain on us. And luckily, we weren't married and no kids, and we broke 4 million last year, and we have a lot of help
That's
now.
great.
So you
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you can't do it by yourself. So you have to let go of the reins.
Yeah.
And we've had this is, we finally have a good production supervisor in place, and we've attempted. So 4 years ago, we attempted bringing our first supervisor, let them kind of run it, followed us for a little bit, let them have the reins. They got us to a certain point, and we kind of stalled out. Like, okay, it's time to either find a new seat or move on. And they moved on. So then we found another person, and it was just, they didn't do things the way that we wanted it done. They did things that we wanted done, not the way we would have done it, but we realized that they're not us. So let them kind of fumble through their stuff themselves. And then they got to a certain point and we moved on. And now we've got Mike, who's been killing it for us right now. And he's just doing an awesome job. And he's been with us for 10 years. So he's slowly moved up the ranks with us as being just a sales rep. And then he knows the inside and outs of the business and the way that we run it. And he has his own spin on everything. And it's for us to sit back and let him make his mistakes, and we can kind of guide him and push him. It's been a huge help, and it gives us more time to look at bigger projects.
If you have processes and all that stuff in place, I mean, it should get done.
Well, guys,
do it the way you want.
can I share, when Mike first took over, one of the big things, because you guys are a data-driven company, is Adam, you were sharing me one time you were almost in a worried state, I think, because you're going, wait, we're doing more production, but we have press time left. Are we slow? And I think after conversations, you kind of came up with, well, wait, we have less rejects. We're not reprinting stuff. We're not doing that. And that is just giving you the gift of time.
Yeah.
Is that, and Allie, do you find that where all of a sudden the data, all of a sudden freaks you out? And I think, Adam, you and I were laughing one night that you just said, dude, this is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the data is great. It's always letting me find just that, you know, where, yeah, what are your capacities, different things that way. And it's changing constantly with every person. But having a really good hold on that data and making one change, changing one variable helps you test and figure out then, oh, this was a good thing. We figured out it was, you know, we're not doing as many reprints. But if you're not tracking your reprints, you're not going to know that. And your press capacity, how much are we getting through in a day to know what your capacity is? And again, are you still meeting that capacity, but now you have extra time? Well, you've just increased your capacity, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and you're talking about the data. I mean, we looked at our online stores and how they were doing it. We would always do backwards. There's a backward piece. We always did that, no matter what. That's just, we didn't want to disappoint the customer, and we were tracking and tracking. There's so many at Christmas time, right? In the fall when schools kick off, there's so many backward pieces because everyone in the country's buying the same stuff at the same time. We don't have it. So instead of doing that, we just changed the way to do backwards. And we offered, here's an alternative. This was not available anymore. Here's an alternative. And then the order just seamlessly goes through. So then we had all this free time. And you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't we do that before? But without that data, we'd have no idea that that's what was holding us up.
Well, sometimes you can't get out of your own way.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, hey, we need to wrap up because we have things we have to do today. So
Well, real quick, I get to do the shameless plug.
give us a
Allie,
short
Brian,
plug.
and Adam, what chemical are you guys using?
Easy.
Thank you. There we go. I went the whole show without doing that. So
I
there
thought
we
that
go.
was the test. I thought
Biting his tongue over there.
I thought
That's
I was
right.
gonna have to start coming up with numbers and SKUs. I'm like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
started to panic. No, it is easy way.
There we go.
All right, hey, so thanks
And
for
we have,
watching
and we have
today.
our largest dealer is our sponsor, GSG. There we go.
And we would like to remind you guys that we actually got around to creating an Instagram account, and
We did.
it's up on your screen. We would love it if you would follow us, and we will follow you back, I promise. If you're watching this as recorded, please like or share, leave a comment. We'd love to see you guys get engaged. And hopefully we'll see you guys next year at our next Shirt Lab Live, wherever we have it. And but thanks for
Grand Rapids,
watching,
Michigan.
and tune in to our show next week.
Austin, Texas.
Hey, you guys
Sign
want a
off.
last word before we go? Allie?
Join Tribe, watch the videos, come to Shirt Lab.
Super excited to learn. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, we haven't been here. We haven't been here in a couple of years, so this is our first time back in a while. So we're excited.
Yeah, Al?
I'm excited just what I get to learn and who I get to hang out with. These events are all about networking. So, you know, whether it's a Pretty United event at Shirt Lab, which Shirt Lab seem to be the best, you know, or just hanging out with dealers and stuff, it's all about the networking.
All right, Allie's got one more
I
thing
have
to
one
say.
more thing based on what Alan just said. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
I love it. Hey, with that, we're gonna.
You know what? How about this? Who I know? First time I ever met, and everybody's going to be here this week. First time I met Allie and Tom Rowan was with Marshall and Mark Coudray. You know, we were all at dinner one night and happenstance. And who knew 8 years later? So.
Yeah. All right, hey, you guys take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on our show. And thanks to everybody who joined us today. And we'll talk to you later. I'm so happy I got the electronics to work. You don't even.
Oh, I think it sounded great. And hey, I love that when we get international. So Hassan, thanks for doing that. And I don't think people realize how much international people listen, you know, when we're all asleep.
Hey, do you have 4-color process stuff on your YouTube channel, Mark?
He's thinking.
That's what I know.
Not true 4-color process.
Okay.
Simulated process, yeah. but
All right,
not-
so Hassan, so if you go to the GSG YouTube channel, Mark has some simulator process printing tips. So look that up, and hopefully that'll help you out. And maybe if you can dial it in, you can dial in your 4-color. So,
And you could always email Mark.
Or you can contact Mark Coudray.
yeah, right.
Or Mark Coudray, who knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
why I bring it up.
All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you later and talk to you later.